Next speaker is me, so I'm going to do my awkward introduction. Okay. Good afternoon, Toastmasters. Today I want to share with you guys a somewhat profound experience that I had this weekend. It really put me into place and brought me to a new level of awareness on where I need to be and what I need to do. And it changed my perception on how I go about learning things. And so, this actually happened this weekend in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was screening for a doctor up there, and most of us screen here. But for those who haven't screened, what we typically do is nerve scans for patients. And so we have this machine called the Titron. And we check for any nervous system damage. And so I was behind the booth, and I was actually just organizing some stuff. And this was about halfway through the weekend, and this guy comes up and sits down and says, "Hey," he kind of yells at me, "Hey, can I get a free nerve scan?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely. Just fill out this form and I'll come be right with you." And so I went over there, sat down, and took a look at him, and immediately I knew that there was something going on here. My stomach kind of dropped a little bit, and I just got that weird feeling like, I don't think this guy came to get help. And so I started talking to him, explaining the nerve scan, explaining why it's important to see if there's any nerve damage and what that could have, the impact that could have on your health. And immediately I met with lots of questioning and lots of resistance. And so the guy, he had a very good understanding about the anatomy. And so immediately I asked him, "Are you a chiropractor?" And so he says to me, "No, I'm not a chiropractor." And so then I asked him, "Well, are you a physician? Are you in the medical field of some sort?" And he just gave me this stare like, "Oh yeah." And little did I know at that time, but I was face to face with an orthopedic surgeon that had been in practice for over 20 years, who had been around the world, who had been published in multiple articles in a variety of different scientific journals, and he had chosen me, for whatever reason, to be his victim, to put me down, and to try to make me look like an idiot, pretty much. So, I was like, "Oh shit." Bottom line, that was the feeling, oh shit. And I held my own, but upon his departure, which felt like an hour, it was only 10 minutes, but upon his departure, I reviewed this and thought to myself, wow, I need to get my shit together. Excuse my language, but wow. And I immediately thought about all the hours that I've been putting in at school. You know, that first year, most of us have gone through the first year. The first year is a ton of studying, a ton of hours in the lab, looking at cadavers, so many hours doing this and that. We took over 80 exams in this first year, and at this point, talking with the surgeon, I felt like all that was for nothing. And so today I just wanted to ask the question to you guys, and that is the question, are you applying yourself? Because really, all that knowledge is great, all that understanding is great, because you get through the tests, you get through the exams, but what is it really doing for you? And you know, as students, we've been going to school for over 12 years, right? We're trained to be students. We're trained to take in information, regurgitate it. Take in information, throw it back up perfectly, any way you can. But the thing is, that thing that we're not trained in is to take in information, throw it up, and then go apply it to your life. And that's where there's a huge problem right now. There's a huge problem. And so many students experience it. I mean, the numbers show it. The numbers show 5 out of 10 chiropractors are failing out of practice. You know, this kind of brings me back to a story of when I was younger, or when I was an undergrad. I had a goal to get a 4.0. I wanted to prove to myself that I could get a 4.0, and I got it. And for a couple hours, I felt absolutely amazing. But after after those hours went by, I actually felt this emptiness. And this emptiness was the expression of no growth. I learned a lot, I understood a lot, but I really didn't grow too much at all. And so, the act of applying something in your life, it forces you to not only utilize your knowledge and your understanding and the wisdom that you've gained from that, but it allows you to experience things in a whole different format. There's so many other variables that you're not aware of that when utilized, when you apply yourself to these different things, you grow and you transform. And so, just looking at you guys right now, we're all students, right? We're all students, but we're in graduate school, and so this isn't school. This is a different type of school. Like, when we get out of here, it's game time. Like, there isn't anything else. Like, it is game time when we get out of here. And so, we're going to be doctors. We're going to be doctors. I mean, do you guys think about that? We're being doctors, and we're not students anymore. So that knowledge, understanding, throwing back up it's not applicable to us anymore. You know, you look at medical students, what do they do after their schooling? They go and work in a hospital training for another 3 or 4 years. They put a lot of time, they understand that they need to train and apply all this knowledge, but as chiropractors, most of us, if we're opening our own practice, aren't spending that time training afterwards. And so we have no choice but to start now. So, guys, Palmer, it's a place where champions are born. Many, many people have been extremely successful walking out of here. And I just want to let you guys know they didn't do it because of the knowledge I learned or because they got 4.0s. They did it because they took action and they applied what they learned.